Okay, we're looking at exercise 11D from the first year mechanics textbook. And I'm told, so it's an exam question and a problem solving one. So exam questions are handy because when you can see how many marks each part's worth, it gives you an idea of sort of how hard it should be or how long it should take. Okay, so I'm given the acceleration and I'm asked, so obviously if I integrate acceleration, I'm going to get velocity, but they go straight onto displacement. And they do ask about velocity, but only after I've worked with the displacement. So quite an interesting structure to this one. Okay, so okay, so I want to integrate to find velocity. So if I integrate acceleration, I get velocity, so t squared, and when I divide by 2, that becomes 3t squared. 2 is going to integrate to 2t, and I've got a plus c. And this is different to all the other questions in that they haven't given me any information about the velocity. So I can't currently figure out what c is. So I'm going to crack straight on to displacement. Doesn't mean I can just ignore the c, but I'm just going to have to leave that as a plus c. So displacement, so I'm going to increase that power to 3, and then dividing by 3 will cancel the coefficient of 3. I'm going to increase that power to 2, and then when I divide, it'll cancel the 2. And then c is just a constant, so I don't know what it is just yet, but constants will just integrate up to a t term. Yeah, so the same, so 2 integrated to 2t, yeah, 7 would have integrated to 7t, and so on and so on. So c will integrate to ct. And then I'll have another constant, and I need to be really careful here because this new constant won't necessarily be the same as this one. So I shouldn't call them the same letter. So I'm going to use d. Okay, you can use anything you want. K is quite common, so I'm just going to use d just to show it's another constant to find, but it is not necessarily going to be the same as that value there. So you can't call them the same letter. Right, so I've got 2 unknowns, but if I go back to the question, there's 2 things that are okay. Well, the first is this is worth 6 marks. I'm expecting this to be a longish question. And the second is they have given me two bits of information. I have noticed as well, actually, they're using S rather than X. So I'm going to change that to S. Okay. So they've given me 2 bits of information. They've told me that when t is 2, S is 10, and when t is 3, S is 38. So if I sub that in, so S is 10 when t is 2, so that's going to be 2 cubed plus 2 squared plus 2 times c plus d. So let's minus the 8 and the 4 from the 10. And I end up with that. Okay, and then if S is 38, that's going to be 3 cubed plus 3 squared plus 3 times c plus d. Okay, so if I minus the 27 and the 9 from the 38, I get 2. Okay, so I've got just a pair of simultaneous equations. So it's up to you how you solve these. I've simplified them down so that I can subtract and find c. So in fact, I'm going to do 2 equals 3c plus d, and then minus 2 is 2c plus d. So if I use elimination, so 2 minus minus 2 is 4, 3c minus, oh, sorry, I'm going to do that right, sorry. Okay, it's like, okay, so let's just talk through this and write the whole thing out again. So I had, when t is 2, S is 10, so I substituted t is 2 in to this and got that equation, which I then simplified down. I also was told in the question that when S was 38, t was 3. So I've substituted those 2 values in there. And I am now, move that out of the way. Okay, So, and then I decided, so I had these two simultaneous equations to solve. Lots of variations. You could have made be the subject of each of them. I've chosen just to line them up and then do this one, take away this one. So 2 minus minus 2 is 4. 3c minus 2c is c. And d, take away d is cancelling. So I've got c is 4. Now that I've got c is 4, I'll go back to this one. So if c is 4, 2 is 12 plus d. So d has got to be minus 10. So my full expression for displacement, so if I go back up, look at this line up here, so my final equation is going to be t cubed plus t squared, c is 4, and d is minus 10. Okay, so slightly different to the other questions, but hopefully not too bad. And then, yeah, the final mark is just going to be really straightforward. So now I've got my full equation. When t is 4, I can just substitute that in. So when t is 4, let's do 4 cubed plus 4 squared plus 4 times 4 minus 10. So 64 plus 16 plus 16 minus 10. Okay, so I'm getting S is 86 meters. Okay, and they just want the displacement, so that's fine. Then the velocity, so this is only 2 marks, so this should be quite straightforward, and basically I've pretty much got all the working I need for this. So I had the velocity here. I now know what c is, so I'm going to try and remember that. So it was 3t squared plus 2t plus c. So velocity is 3t squared plus 2t plus c, and I now know that c is 4. Okay, so right, 3t squared plus 2t plus c, yeah. Okay, so they want the velocity when t is 4, so that's going to be 3 times 4 squared plus 2 times 4 plus 4, which is going to be 3 times 16 plus 8 plus 4, 60 meters per second. Okay, so that's the nice thing about the exam questions. Let's just check those answers, 60 and 86, lovely. Yeah, so the good thing about exam questions is you might be expecting part B to be harder than part A, but then when you see it's only 2 marks, you know it should be something relatively straightforward.